Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, please we'll take a moment for silent reflection. Thank you. On to item C, it's a meetings note, Board Member Appreciation Month dinner in the Employees Restaurant after the conclusion of tonight's meeting. Move on to item E, approval of the agenda with the following amendments. D1, add item F, unfinished business, and D2, we'll move to item E4B. The Board of Education is asked to consider and approve the ELA curriculum adoption, HMH, in the amount of $2 million, I'm not even reading that, a lot of money, from the consent agenda and unfinished business in item F1.
Mr. President, I move to approve the meeting agenda as amended.
There a second?
Good.
Moving second, any discussion? If none, raise your hand. Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Nathan?
Oh, Nathan, sorry.
Aye.
He raised his hand on it. I saw it. Sorry, Nathan. Okay,
You're
move
okay.
on to item E, the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I move to approve all consent agenda items as amended.
The move and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
See Nathan?
Nathan, did you get it?
Yep, he raised his hand. We saw it.
Okay, item F, unfinished business, F1. So this is the Board of Education asks to improve the ELA curriculum adoption. There's been some further discussion and questions brought up, so we guess we'll discuss that. This is the time to discuss that. So Rebecca, I'll open the floor to you.
I did. I had some conversations this week with individuals. I think my main concern was whether we were adopting a curriculum that also included an online portion from K through 12 without having public discussions of whether or not we were renewing iPads, the 1-to-1 ratio of iPads, and if we purchased it, where's the license agreement for that many iPads, if that would affect the cost, one, and two, whether it was necessary. So I think my concern was the technology piece of the curriculum and how worthwhile it was and how much time they would spend online versus in the textbook and in the workbooks. So
Okay,
I think my point is I wanted to have make public comment on that 1-to-1 ratio before we move forward.
Mark, do you have anything?
No, I just, I think I would like to hear whomever from Josh or whomever, we need to talk a little bit about exactly how this is going to work, especially K through 5. Looking at the technology, the 1-to-1, how and Rebecca mentioned a little bit there that, is it software? What are we getting into consumables as far as books, things like that? How much time will we be spending? I don't know as individual teachers and what they do in the classrooms, but I guess just a little bit of clarification on that.
Sure.
And what we're buying and how it will be used.
Anything, Jake?
I agree. I'm just not a big fan of every student on an iPad, so maybe 1 or 2 for the class, but I'd like more clarification on that also.
Sounds like we've got kind of a theme going on. I had a lot of questions about the, especially the AI component that I wrote down, and I also was talking to individuals. I went and talked to Megan Ford since she was one of the teachers that tested it out, and I wanted to know, did she get a chance to test out the AI portion? She said she did not. So I was wondering if that was a thing that we could do. Sounds like we can't do that at this time based on some of the answers that I got. But I just want to make sure that this is a very new technology. I want to make sure that this is something that's really going to be worth our time, and it's really going to be a useful tool for our teachers. So I was just throughout this week, kind of hoping to get a little bit more information about it, because that has been a thing that I think all of us as board members have raised concerns about, is how much technology time we have, especially with legislation coming up about screen time. And I know, Casey, you're working on addressing that. So that was one of my concerns as well.
Okay. Josh, you want,
You want to see if Nathan's.
Nathan, do you have anything to add?
No, I think I know the group vetted them really well. I know Heather talked extensively with all three of the different groups we interviewed and looked at all the different curriculums. And so I'm personally okay with what we've come up with. I know there's a lot of advancements. I know there's a lot of things that are going on. AI is it is here. It's how we utilize it, and I think I understand the questions that Rebecca has and the other questions about technology and what we're looking at with one-to-one. I think it is a package deal from what I understood. And so it is one of those things that is there. And it is a lot about how to utilization, how the teachers actually use it. And it'll be part of the professional development that I'm sure happens, that they will know how to use it appropriately and that they will be monitored. And that'll be something that's a big part of that. So that's my 2 cents on this part.
No, only thing I'll add, I'm okay with where we're at with that. I do raise the same question I didn't even think about when we did about what are we gonna do? Does this affect the technology thing affect the curriculum? So that did raise a question for me too. So
Sure.
Josh, I'll let you go.
Yeah, so Heather's on Zoom with us too, so that she can kind of address some questions. And I asked Casey to be here too, because I think we're talking about two different topics. One is the ELA curriculum, and then one is obviously the technology piece with the one-to-one initiative. And I think those are two different things. The curriculum, I think one of the things that, you know, when we met earlier in the month and the committee kind of talked about it, one of the things that I got from that was that they were really excited because they were going to have kids, we're going to have books in their hands, they're going to be able to annotate, there's going to be writing to that. I don't see a lot of technology involved in that. I think, and Heather, I'm going to let you speak to this more than me because you've been involved with this a lot more thoroughly than I have. But from what I'm gathering, the component that we're talking about is the add-on with the AI version to be able to help basically help the teachers get an idea of what the kids are reading. So they would read, they're recommending that 30 minutes a week, not 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes a week. So 10 minutes 3 times a week, 15 minutes twice a week, 30 minutes 1 time a week, however you want to do that. But basically the kiddo would read to that platform, and it would pick up the errors in what they're reading. And that would give the teacher an idea of how to target specifically what to work on as far as, you know, is it a long vowel sounds that they need to work on? Is it digraphs? Is it blends? What are the phonemic, or not the phonemic, excuse me, the phonics skills that they're missing that we need to target so that they can set their small groups up with that. The rest of the time, my understanding is it would be, they would be in the books reading and writing and doing those things. I will tell you, tomorrow in the newsletter, I've got a letter. Casey's been, as far as like screen time and things like that, he's been trying to be as proactive, I think, as he can, knowing this legislation's coming and knowing that you guys have a lot of questions. To be quite frank, we don't have a really great component to measure the amount of screen time that kids are spending to give you guys an exact number without getting on each individual iPad and pulling that data off of each individual iPad. Casey's drafted a letter that I'm going to share with you all tomorrow that he's sending to Apple, telling them that we need their help. They need to be players in this, because not only do we have legislation coming, but if we're going to be transparent with our families and let them know what that looks like. I mean, I think families have a right to know how much screen time their kids are getting at school. And so I think Casey's done a really good job of trying to get ahead of that, and he'll share some of that. And he'll share the data that he has collected on the iPads that he's pulled individually. So you can kind of get a little picture of what it looks like. But we're hoping to get more details as far as what that looks like. Heather, do you want to kind of chime in?
Can you hear me? Okay. Haven't ever used this WebEx, so I was hoping that I would come through. What I kind of hear, and I just want to make sure that I'm accurate, is one of the biggest concerns is are we going to be able to use Amira if we don't have a one-to-one device initiative? And I think the answer to that is yes, because there's always going to be a need for some technology in the classroom because we have to give KELPA and other state assessments online. So there's going to be devices accessible, but they shouldn't be on them all the time. I 100% agree with that. I sent a link to Josh. I don't know if all of you received it, but it kind of gives a model of how Amira potentially and likely should be used. And it's in small group as a small group center. So we would have a limited number of students accessing Amira at any given time. It could be done whole group, but it certainly doesn't have to be. So if we don't go with the one-to-one initiative, it would still be a usable product. It wouldn't be stuck on a shelf and never used again. That kind of the bulk of what your questions were around.
So do you have to use like a headset and everything to speak into this?
My understanding is you don't have to, Heather, correct? I think that was one of the questions that I got earlier. Heather?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I was having some accessibility issues.
Yeah, Jacob was asking about, whether there was a need for headsets. They don't have to have a headset, correct? They can do it without the headset?
That is correct. We asked that question with HMH and they said as long as the kid is sitting directly in front of the device, it should be able to communicate well enough that it will work. It's functional. Now, headphones, are helpful. And if we decide that we want to use headphones, we already have the headphones on the school supply list. So kids are already bringing a set of headphones. And then if we wanted to upgrade to headphones that have a microphone built into them, those are about $12 a piece, which potentially could come from instructions budget or building. I mean, that would be something that Jessica would have to work out where that money would come from.
Casey, did you want to say something?
Many of the schools already have those headset classes rooms, or that wouldn't necessarily be a one-to-one or have a brand new. There are schools already, so. Yes, yep, they're clean and shared and access that way. Some kids use their own. If they bring their own and have a mic built in, they can obviously use their own. That's not, I don't think it's required that they have a mic built in on the, on the school supply list. It's just that they have headphones, but we do have headphones available for students in schools. I can't give you a count, but, they use them for CELPA testing and all kinds of things. So, those already exist. So it's not like we're gonna have an additional $10 to $12 per kid as we go forward.
How well does it pick up just your voice instead of outside? Like, say he's doing the same thing as me, pick up what he's reading instead of what I'm reading.
I can't give you any specifics, but they're pretty good because they're doing CELPA testing side by side and they're not picking up. Their CELPA tests are coming through clear, just fine. So I don't think we currently have any issues with that being a problem on their CELPA testing, which is done fairly close together.
And HMH kind of said the same thing because teachers did have that question. Would background noise be a problem? And they reported that it typically is not.
You guys know what CELPA testing is?
Device, typically if the kid's speaking to the device at their desk like they would be, just even out in the open, it doesn't pick up a lot of background noise. We use them for CELPA for very specific reasons because that's a speaking test. So that's why they use them there, but kids record into them all the time.
Do we have a timeline or kind of a process for making that one-to-one? Is there a time where we have a deadline for the contracts or anything? When all that discussion takes place? Is that March?
My initial assignment was to be here in March with that. We'll have to place orders early April if we're going to, or with any product whatsoever. So the plans to be here in March. the first meeting.
I will add, I know one of the board members just mentioned that they spoke to Megan Ford and asked about demoing Amira. We did not get a chance to put our students on Amira, but in the evening on the Q&A sessions with the gentleman who came to do the demo lesson, Katie Unger asked a lot of really great questions, and they showed us what it looked like, played it out on kind of a video of this is what a lesson looks like, and then showed us the data reports that come out of it. So although we didn't see it with our students specifically, we did see what inside the platform does look like and what potentially those data reports would look like.
Okay, so we've at least gotten some kind of preview, and the teachers that viewed it agreed that this is something that would be usable and useful in their classroom.
Yeah, a lot of the feedback that I got from teachers was they really felt like this was a really essential component if we were going to proceed with HMH. They thought it was going to be, critical to getting the most out of this product that we could, when, especially with regards to our students with dyslexia.
Because I think that's been my biggest concern is like, if we are going to add this on, is it something that is really going to be useful and usable in the classroom? Or is this just something that the company is pushing because AI is the newest and coolest thing? So I want to make sure we're not just doing something because it's trendy, but because we really feel like it's going to be beneficial. So it's good to know
When-
that the teachers got to see that.
Yeah, teachers were excited about it. What I saw is what we are currently doing in the classroom is called the Letters, Phonics, and Word Reading Survey. It gets diagnostic level information for teachers with regards to how students are performing. So students get scores on whether or not they could read words with vowel teams or VCE words or blends and digraphs, things like that. I saw very similar information that came out of Amira, and it would be fabulous if Amira's data can replace that letters and phonics and word reading survey piece, because we are individually one-on-one testing every kid every quarter. And if Amira, if the data coming out of that can replace that, that's going to save a lot of time for our teachers that they'll have available to teach and work with students instead of gathering data.
Right, and I remember that being brought up at the last meeting. So it's, like I said, it's good to know that the teachers got to see this and that they were excited about it. And as long as we feel like it's usable. Again, I want to do it because it's good and not just because it's trendy. So thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was there that evening, Heather, when HMH was there, and Katie came in. I felt skeptical of a lot of things, and she had a lot of questions, and Amir was one of them, and I felt that they did a pretty good job of showing the teachers that were present of how that worked, and I really felt Katie came away pretty satisfied. I'm not speaking for her, but that just was my perception.
Yeah, I agree. I think Katie was afraid that it was intended that Amira be like 30 minutes a day or something, and that we would be sticking kids on devices instead of teaching them. And that's not what anybody really wants. My vision using Amira is that during small group time, teachers are working with, 2 to 3 students that need individual help. And one of the stations is Amira, so that the kids who are not at the table with the teacher are getting something valuable that's targeted to them and is going to give us data about when it's their turn to come to the table, what do they need? And that's our vision for how we would be using it.
I will also say that I've talked to several teachers, and as they've looked at the different options and whatnot, several of them have mentioned how much time this will save them in the classroom and allow them to tailor instruction more specifically to students to help them get past certain things. And they'll know exactly what they need to do, and they'll find that out just by talking to the students. And so it'll help them tremendously with time. and a lot of the other avenues. So I know a lot of teachers are on board with it and what it can do to help save them long term.
Someone had asked about training for Amira as well. Currently, that is on our July 30th agenda for professional development for HMH. And that's only on July 30th, not April 6th, because we have more time on July 30th. We have a shorter period of time, April 6th. And with so much time between April 6th and when students arrive, I think teachers will get more out of the Amira training closer to when they're going to have students in their classrooms. If teachers are unable to attend on July 30th, HMH does have Teachers Corner, which is on-demand training that's available to them anytime. And we'll be able to have a sequence of videos that they can watch to get them up to speed with what everybody else learned on July 30th. Then throughout the school year, we have 2 additional professional development days where we're going to be able to revisit HMH training with teachers. And then there's also going to be monthly trainings with our instructional coaches and principals so that they can be going into classrooms and giving teachers feedback as to their implementation, which that'll include all of HMH's products.
I'll add that I think my instructional folks will be there. Able to provide ongoing support as needed. I mean, we won't be the support necessarily for that product, but we'll be there so that we can aid questions and answers as we go forward. And have been in some of the other previous trainings.
There any other questions or anybody have anything else to add?
I think all my questions have been pretty well answered.
So from the technology standpoint, as far as the one-to-one and things like that, there'll be some information coming out to you guys in the newsletter tomorrow. And I've kind of talked to Casey. We're going to try to have at least a couple times a month, some information that as he gathers it, he'll get that to me to share with you all so that you guys kind of have some background on what that looks like in the district before we get to the March meeting. And as I do that, if there's more things you want, more questions you have, just reach out to me and Casey and I can work together to make sure we get that stuff too.
Guess my 2 cents on the deal is, I agree. I think it is 2 different topics. Whether, I'm gonna bet, I wasn't on the committee, but I'm gonna bet every one of the ones we tried has an AI component. So I'm gonna bet we're not gonna outrun that no matter which one we choose. So I do agree that now it's how we use it, that's what the deciding factor, whether it's the one-to-one, no iPads at all, or computers, whatever. But we're not gonna outrun the AI thing, and we just have to police it. The teachers have to be policed on it, and we have to make sure it's being used the way it's intended and that it's what it's for. I'm kind of the odd man out. I don't fear AI at all. I embrace it because in my career field, in the last 2 years, it has done tremendous things in my career field. So I embrace AI like no other. It's saved me tons of work and that, but that's kind of where I'm at. And I guess the last thing I'll say is we formed a committee that was well represented by the district. They think this is the best option. I have to trust them, that they made this decision, that they think this is best and got our questions answered, and I'm okay with it. But I'm glad I did have some questions that got answered now, and I appreciate that. But
So then are we wanting to make a motion on this and vote on this tonight then? Okay.
If we could, and the reason being is there's a timeline on the pricing that we have. And so that pricing, what we have would expire. It expires
Okay.
tomorrow.
So yes, it has to be
Ready for
Tonight.
motion?
I didn't know it was tomorrow. I just knew it expired before the next board meeting. So
I don't have any more questions.
Nathan, I didn't ask, do you have any other questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, Mr. President, I move to approve the ELA curriculum adoption HMH in the amount of $2,463,963.37.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Item G, next board meeting. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will take place on Monday, February 9th at 6 PM here in the board meeting room. I will move for adjournment.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education meeting be adjourned.
Second.
Questions? Raise your hand. We are adjourned.
You guys, if Nathan's still on, he won't be there, but, you guys are all on the pass gate for the Rocky Well this weekend. You and a guest for the Rocky Well now that the refinery. So if you so desire to watch wrestling, just give them your name
How
and
many teams we got? Do you know? Too many.
42 boys and 38 girls.
So there's a, we go through the pass gate
Yeah, just the front door.
as an, I guess,
And the guest, yep.
so my wife gets, she don't have to pay.
No, about 1,000 kids will be there. I think.
That place.
3,000 actually.
That's good.
that's probably the biggest.
It is, yeah, so far they've had an indoor soccer tournament.
Everybody better buckle up because this is more teams than we've had, so,
It's gonna go well.
yeah,
I mean-
it'll go well. We have 20 officials, which when I started as an AD, we had 10. We're up to 20 officials.
State tournament level number of.
Yeah. So you have to, in order to officiate the Rocky Mountain, you have to have officiated a state championship match. So. And we have them from Colorado, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Kansas.
Teams or officials?
Teams too, but officials. Yeah, we try to bring in officials that those teams know so that they don't feel like it's. We don't allow, outside of Josh Beer, he's our head official. We don't allow Garden City people to officiate.
Did you see that girls' basketball game where the guy just flopped?
Yeah.
a medical.
Sure.
He needs to give up his whistle.
Sure it was.
All right, we've got reservations at